Hello, I'm Mrs. Arnold, and today we are learning about clouds and precipitation. The main idea of this video is that clouds vary in shape, size, height of formation, and type of precipitation. Essential questions are: what is the difference between stable and unstable air? How do low, middle, high, and vertical development clouds differ? And how does precipitation form? So clouds form as a rising air mass cools. When a warm air mass rises, it's going to expand and cool adiabatically. We discussed this in the last part of our video, of the previous video. The cooling of an air mass as it rises can cause water vapor in the air mass to condense, and that's going to form clouds. So within a cloud, the water droplets are going to form around something called a condensation nucleus. This is a small particle in the atmosphere that a water droplet is forming around. These particles are usually, so their size is usually less than 0.001 millimeter. And so they're really small, and they are made of different things. So they can be made of ice, dust, or other materials. So little particles that are in the air, this is what the water droplets are going to form around. And when the number of droplets are large enough, then you can see a cloud. Cloud formation also depends on the stability of the atmosphere. So what this means, of course, as an air mass rises, it cools, and the air mass will continue to rise as long as it's warmer than the surrounding air. Okay. When the air mass sinks back into its original position and resists rising, it is considered to be a stable air mass. And the stability of an air mass determines the types of clouds that form. And the associated weather patterns. Okay. So stable air mass, once again, is one that resists movement. So stable air, you are going to see fair weather clouds. In air that is unstable, which means that it does not resist vertical displacement or going up and down, this is when you see your thunder storm clouds. So atmospheric lifting is a way that clouds can form. Clouds are going to form through two ways using this. This is convective. The first way is convective lifting, which is warm, moist air rising and cooling. And then the second way is through mechanical processes. When air is forced upward. And there's two ways that this can happen. The first one is orographic lifting, and the second way is convergence. And we are going to discuss both of these ways on the next slides. So orographic lifting is referring to an air mass that has to go over a topographic barrier. Like in this picture, the air mass is being forced up this slope. So the definition for orographic lifting is it occurs when an air mass is forced to rise over topographic barrier like mountain or cliff. So this air mass isn't rising, like if we go back, convective lifting, that air mass is rising because it is warmer than the air. It's warm air, so it's automatically going up. This air here is not necessarily warm air, it's just being forced upwards because of the way the land is around it. Okay. So when orographic lifting is happening, as the air is forced upwards, it expands and cools, and that is going to result in condensation when the dew point is reached. And this is why we see many of the rainiest places on Earth are on the windward side of mountains. And then oftentimes we find deserts on the other side because the air mass has released all of its rain on the windward side, and so it's really dry when it gets over the mountain. Convergence is another mechanical way that air masses are forced upward. So this is going to happen when air moves into the same area from different directions, and some of the air then is forced upward. This is more pronounced when air masses of different temperatures collide. This is going to be common at middle latitudes, where warmer air collides with polar air. So what are the type of clouds that we see? So clouds are going to be classified by the altitudes where they form and by their shapes. So this is a nice picture that you can also find in your textbook, and it just shows the different names for the different types of clouds that we see. So we have prefixes and suffixes that we use for these that is helpful. And if you know the prefix or suffix, then you can kind of figure out, what the cloud is about. So we have stratus or strato. And this is going to be referring to flat, layered, or smooth clouds. The prefix cumulus or cumulo is puffy. Cirrus or cirro is referring to clouds that are high up, wispy. Alto is middle latitude cloud. Whoops, I keep doing that. And we have might have done that prefix wrong, by the way, this one. That is referring to a rain-bearing cloud. Okay, so those are different prefixes and suffixes. So we are going to talk about low clouds. Low clouds, cumulus clouds, these are the puffy, lumpy looking clouds that usually occur below 200 meters. Stratus clouds are layered and sheet-like clouds and that cover much of all the sky in a given area, and it also forms at 200 meters. A nimbostratus cloud is going to be a cloud that produces precipitation. Our middle clouds are altocumulus and altostratus clouds. Remember, alto is the prefix that refers to middle. These are going to be altitudes between 2,000 and 6,000 meters, and they're made up of ice crystals and water droplets, and sometimes they produce mild precipitation. Our high clouds are made up of ice crystals, and they are at heights above 6,000 meters where temperatures are way below freezing. And some, like cirrus clouds, have a wispy and indistinct appearance. We also see vertical clouds in the atmosphere. This picture, I'm circling it right here. That is a cumulonimbus cloud that is formed if the air that makes up a cumulus cloud is unstable. So the cloud will continue to grow upward through middle latitudes. These clouds are associated with thunderstorms. So you see really tall, towering clouds. You should recognize that, oh, that's a thunderstorm cloud. And they can stretch so far that they can reach the tropopause if the conditions are right. Okay, precipitation. So all forms of water that fall from the clouds to the ground we call precipitation. The types of precipitation you probably know. We have rain, snow, sleet, and hail. Those are the ones we're going to talk about. And precipitation does something that we call coalescence. And what this means is that it is going to occur when cloud droplets collide and join together to form larger droplets. And what happens is that these droplets are going to fall when they become too heavy. Okay. So snow, sleet, and hail. The type of precipitation that reaches the earth is going to depend on the vertical variation of temperature in the atmosphere. As for snow, we see snow when we have cold clouds. And the air is far below freezing. We see sleet when droplets move up and down through freezing and non-freezing air. And lastly, we see hail when the up and down motion in the cloud is strong and occurs over large stretches of the atmosphere. Okay. Today we learned that clouds vary in shape, size, height, and precipitation. And we also learned the prefixes that are used to describe different types of clouds.